Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got a video about Sporting Logically. Link to his channel in the description below, titled How to Fix the Detroit Pistons, man. So, as we watch this, I'm going to do my best to not be biased, keep an open mind, because typically when I watch this content here, he's a very smart dude, so he knows what he's talking about. So, I mean, the only thing that will probably get me mad is talks of Luke Kennard's trade rumors. I don't want to hear that at all. Or Siko Demboya. Like, I like both those players a lot. So, outside of that, I'm pretty open-minded. Also, I don't want to trade Derrick Rose because he has a really good contract. But here we go, man.
Of the first video in the How to Fix the Insert Team Here series about the now 5-20 New York Knicks, it might seem a bit strange that the second team I chose to cover was the currently 10-14 Detroit Pistons,
underachieving from what we all thought
in the playoff hunt in the East. But the issue with this team isn't what they look like right now. They have a solid front court and okay supporting cast that could probably get them the 8th seed for the next 2 years or so.
Right.
But when you really look at it, they also have, in my opinion, the worst long-term outlook of any team in the East.
How they got the worst outlook, man? Luke Kennard is going to be Clay Thompson. Oh, okay, guys. Luke, okay. Siko Demboya is the next Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's his ceiling. His floor is Pascal Siakam. Luke Kennard's a beast. And Bruce Brown is pretty damn... Like, I like Bruce Brown a lot. He's been playing a lot of point guard. And outside those guys, you got... Christian Wood's been decent. Someone made a joke and said that Christian Wood is like a church girl's dream or something like that. I didn't really get the joke, but we got some draft picks. We got money coming off the books once Blake Griffin's gone. I mean, nobody wants to come play for us. Okay, let's continue.
For reasons that I'll get into in this video,
okay,
the
let's hear the
Pistons
reasons.
Don't have much of a future in terms of being a true threat in the Eastern Conference with their current roster construction.
Agree to disagree.
And that needs to change. So here's how to fix the Detroit Pistons. Step 1. Retain coach Dwayne Casey.
Sure, I like him.
So just based off the intro to this video, I'm sure many of you can tell that we're going to be going for a pretty significant rebuild for the Pistons here, which might also make you think that the team should start over with a new head coach as well. But I don't think that's necessarily the best thing for this team.
He's got to get his guys on the team.
Some failures in Toronto, I think Dwayne Casey is a good NBA coach, and quite frankly, he's better than anyone else this team would be able to bring in to replace him. He should do a solid job of developing players, and as long as he's on board with the rebuild, I'd keep him around. Step 2. Identify core pieces. So just like we talked about in...
Okay, I thought that little silence right there was like a joke. I thought it was a joke. Like let's play that back. Play that back. It was just complete crickets. I thought it was him saying like, okay, there is no core pieces. Look at this.
So just like we talked...
Well, okay, let's try this again.
He's on board with the rebuild, I'd keep him around. Step 2. Identify core pieces. So just like we talked about in the Knicks video, it's incredibly important when evaluating a franchise to determine which players are core pieces of your team, aka guys you want to have around when the team is actually good again, and this is where things start to get scary for the Pistons.
Okay.
Essentially, there are only 2 players that come to mind here, Andre Drummond and Luke Kennard.
Really? You don't have
Let's
Demboya?
start with Kennard. With the exception of their most recent draft, he is the only Pistons first-round pick from the prior 5 drafts, going all the way back to the 2012 draft.
It's because Pistons don't know how to draft good players, and hopefully that can change. And that's the thing, too, is like when you're stuck in mediocrity, or even when you're a bad team, like if you ain't drafting correctly, you're never going to get out of there. So here's to hoping whoever's in charge of drafting players for the Pistons gets his ass fired ASAP. Because that's really what could help the future out too. Like look at the players. Like Bruce Brown actually isn't bad. That was a nice pick in the second round. Henry Allison's garbage. Michael Jumanji, whatever the hell his name is, garbage. Jaron Hiller, I thought he was gonna be something. He had back injuries. Spencer Dinwiddie, we should have kept that man. He's so good. KCP, bitch ass could be gone. Peyton Siva, he was good in college. By the way, that was a block. Michigan fans know what I'm talking about. And Tony the Tiger Mitchell, yeah, he's garbage too.
When they selected Drummond, that is still on the roster. And this is the fault of both the front offices and coaching staffs over the past few years.
Yeah, Van Gundy was...
Henry Ellenson and KCP have moved on, and they didn't even have a first-round pick in 2014 and 2018, while this year's pick is still a wait-and-see situation, having only played in 4 games as of the recording of this video.
He's been solid in those 11 minutes.
Through his first 2 seasons in Detroit, he was essentially just a shooting specialist, which was disappointing not only for a player selected 12th overall, but also ahead of guys like Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, and John.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was really a disappointing situation. I knew that's kind of what Luke Kennard was going to be out of college. My hopes was that if he became eventually anything beyond just a shooter, that'd be bonus. And this is a guy that can get to the basket, set up plays for other people now. He's good with both of his hands. So yeah, is he Donovan Mitchell? No, but it definitely, the way he's been playing takes away that sting of not having Donovan Mitchell on the team. As far as the rest of these guys, Bam Adebayo, we don't really need him. Justin Jackson, just paid DJ Wilson, GG Leaf. John Collins sure would have been nice, but I'll take Luke Kennard.
Kennard was a bit of a late riser coming out of Duke, and the signs were there that he could still grow as a playmaker and be a really good 2-guard in the NBA, rather than just a guy that stands on the perimeter and shoots threes. And this season, we've finally started to see that potential come through.
Yes, sir.
Kennard is posting career highs in essentially every category except for 3-point percentage, which is slightly down with increased volume. He's getting more minutes, more shots, has more offensive responsibility than ever before, and is showing more parts of his game that we've only seen flashes of in the past. The most encouraging sign is his playmaking at up over 4 assists a game, while also being efficient in that area with a relatively small turnover number. And as a result, he's established himself as the most promising young player and or asset for this team moving forward, outside of Andre Drummond, depending on your opinion of him. At just 23 years old and under contract for another whole season after this one, Kennard, assuming he maintains and improves upon this level of production, is a rarity on this Pistons roster, a legitimate building block for the future. On the other hand, Drummond is a much more controversial case as a future building block.
I would not sign Drummond to a max.
His production is undeniable, and he's still just 26 years old, but he'll likely be a free agent this offseason, assuming he turns down his player option, and he might not fit the timeline of this new era of Pistons basketball that's about to begin in this hypothetical situation. With a team that is so devoid of young assets, it might make more sense to move on from Drummond while he's still under contract.
I don't think the Pistons are devoid of young assets. Like, they have some good young players. It's just the unknowing factor. It's like we don't know what a Kyrie Thomas could become. We don't know what Louis King or Jordan Bone could do. I mean, they're obviously are all proven players when in the basketball world. That's why they're in the NBA. It's just a matter of development. Christian Wood has been a really, really solid player. He's only 24. This is a guy that I could realistically, the way he's been playing, I could see him being the starting power for this team not too far away, or at least being a really good guy off the bench. So, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I just think these guys need opportunities, and whether they get those or not, I mean, the Pistons notorious are not for not giving young players opportunities. Which is why Chris Middleton's an all-star in Milwaukee and Spencer Dinwiddie, borderline all-star on the Nets.
And get some value in return for him to completely hit rock bottom before the team starts building things back up again. And honestly, that's about it in terms of core pieces for this team. There are some other pieces that I would like to retain, namely Thon Maker, Christian Wood, Svi, Bruce Brown, Kyrie Thomas.
I don't want to give Thon Maker another cent.
But that's mostly because the rest of the roster is so devoid of the kind of core pieces that I would like to have moving forward, which means that this team really can't afford to let any chance of these guys turning into good players down the road go to waste. They're going to have the cap space moving forward regardless, so bringing back these guys on cheap deals and giving them a ton of opportunities to develop for their own use or as trade pieces down the road would make sense.
Not Thon Maker, though.
But to be clear, not Thon Maker. The only guy I would make off limits to a trade on this Pistons team, unless a star is available way down the road, is Luke Kennard. Step 3. Trade everybody else.
We're good.
Yes, I mean everybody. Oh, hey Portland, you need some front court scoring and star power? Here, take Blake Griffin.
That's a good trade. I'm all for that trade. Nazir Little would be nice. Getting the draft pick's always good. And getting out of Blake Griffin's contract, who's been pretty bad this season, I guess is the best way to say it, despite injuries, though.
We'll just need some salary relief and a young piece or two.
Sure.
Oh, what's that, Dallas? You want a rim running and rebounding?
Okay, that trade I would not do. I would hope to get a little bit something back for Drummond, although he could potentially be a free agent this year. So I would hope to get a little bit something more back from him. Hopefully a draft pick or something would be kind of ideal. Whether teams are willing to do that, I would not do that trade, though.
Big. Here, take a chance on potential free agent to be Andre Drummond. We'll just take a young asset or two and be on our way.
They're not really good young assets, though.
Are there any teams in need of offseason salary relief? We have a nice Reggie Jackson expiring contract that can be all yours for just a first-round pick. And the list of tradable players just keeps on going.
There for that.
Tony Snell and Langston Galloway as defenders and off-ball shooters, with Galloway being an expiring contract. Derrick Rose as a veteran scorer on a cheap deal for this season as well as next, similar to what Lou Williams did.
Honestly, I do think they could get a pretty good deal for Derrick Rose. Like if they were willing to trade Derrick Rose, I would not just give him away for nothing, because that contract, it's like the Pistons gave this dude a chance when no other teams were signed to a contract. So the way he's playing now, if you want him now for your team, you gotta give up some assets to do so, because he's playing like a damn beast of a player.
Been for the Clippers, Thon Maker as front court depth if the team wanted to let him go, and the same for Marquise.
Yeah, Thon Maker, I'll give you a damn whatever you want for Thon Maker, I'm good with.
That could be useful in a trade to the right team, and they'd be idiots not to try and trade every single one
Steve
of them.
McKayla's been decent.
This roster screams 6th seed in the East as their ceiling.
Hey, thank you. I actually said this in a video, and people thought I was crazy for saying they could be a 6th seed. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think this is no damn top 3 or 4 team out there. But 60, hell yeah.
Even with a fully healthy and all-NBA caliber Blake Griffin.
Why not?
I understand that there are financial incentives to having a solid but not championship contending team, but the only real option from a basketball perspective here is to completely overhaul this roster while hanging on to Kennard. And heck, if they really wanted to, they could try and trade him too if they wanted, considering that he's going to need a new contract in a year and a half.
Give him the max.
Team likely won't be close to where they want to be.
Give him the max.
Then. But the goal here of getting rid of all these guys is to set this team up for future success that exceeds just being an easy first round out in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The return for their bigger names might not be as much as their fans would hope, considering Griffin's injury issues and Drummond's status as an impending free agent, but getting any assets in return at this point is a positive, and their value isn't likely to go up.
Brunson would be decent, I guess.
So it might be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow for this franchise to completely reboot like this, but it's pretty clear that's exactly what they need to do. Get some young players, some extra draft picks, give them the space to develop, start the tank, and see what kind of team this front office can put together. Step 4.
Clearly not a very good
2020 free agency to get more trade pieces. This might seem a bit confusing at first, but I think this is actually a strategy that teams should start exploring. Remember when the Suns signed Trevor Ariza to a big one-year contract in the summer of 2018, still sucked as a team and flipped his expiring to the Wizards and got back Kelly Oubre, who's now a key piece of their team? Or this past offseason when the Knicks brought in Marcus Morris on a big one-year deal and now will likely trade him for some kind of piece
from
this
the Spurs.
Season if they have any kind of basketball intelligence at all. Why don't more teams do this? Sign a solid veteran player to a big money but short deal, then flip them to a contender at the deadline. I mean, sure, you have to wait until December 15th to trade them, and they might help you win a few more games and interrupt the tanking strategy a little bit, but you get back a piece that you actually want that you couldn't have gotten otherwise.
I mean, Marcus Morris, he's the lead scorer on the damn Knicks. They got, 5 wins on the season. So I wouldn't say Marcus Morris, in a rebuilding situation is going to help you win all that many more games anyway.
Now, there are issues with this, namely, if you want to keep trading away veterans after signing them in the offseason, eventually they won't want to sign with you anymore.
That's true.
But still, the Pistons would be smart to at least explore this as an option, especially in what looks like a pretty dry free agency class in terms of stars. Step 5. Draft the best players available. In my opinion, teams that are in a tanking situation too often get bogged down in fit, trying to figure out how exactly all these players are going to come together when your team is actually good. But you never quite actually know what kind of role these players are going to be put in.
Stanley Johnson, I don't want to look at him.
So in my opinion, the best thing to do is just get the best asset that you can and worry about the fit once you actually start to be good. These players can always be traded down the road, some of them might not work out, so you might as well just go with the player that you think is going to be the best down the road, and then just deal with the fit when you have to. Personally, I'd rather have the best asset regardless of how all the pieces fit together, and I think that's definitely a situation that the Pistons should put themselves in. And you might think that this plan is a bit simple, just trade everyone and bottom out, but that's best
how I do my
plan
rebuilds.
For this team, in my opinion. They already tried the trade for guys and hope for the best model with Reggie Jackson years ago and then the Blake Griffin deal, And for some other teams later on in this series, that strategy is going to make more sense. But for me, this is how I would fix the Detroit Pistons.
All right, so I'm gonna say like straight up, I actually would like to see a video about this. So hopefully he sees this video or somebody does this type of video. I'd like to see a comparison of every NBA team's like not their core pieces, but just like their building blocks for like say they wanted to go and rebuild, because Sporting logically said that they don't really have like outside of Luke Kennard or Andre Drummond like any additional pieces on this team. So I just would like to see a comparison of like what other promising young players are out there. Now I do disagree in that regard though. Assuming the Pistons bring back Andre Drummond and Luke Kennard, to me that right there, once Blake Griffin gets off the books, once Reggie Jackson's contract is up, that is something you can start building around, because you got the really good shooter, you got the guy that can be a bit of a playmaker in Luke Kennard, who's still continuing to improve. You have Andre Drummond, who, you're not going to win many games if Andre Drummond is your first or second best player. It's just not really how the NBA is built right now. But and then seeing what happens with Sekou Demboya, like to me, that is a nice core that you can put veteran players around and hope for the best eventually. So, outside of that, they don't have like 7 or 8 players down the roster that I really think could do all that much. But I don't know, guys like Christian Wood, I do like. Guys like Bruce Brown, I do like as he matures as a player and becomes more of a smarter player. So I don't think it's the guys on the bottom of the roster that's the issue. I think it is the Blake Griffins of the world who's, got a pretty large contract and can't stay healthy. I think it's Reggie Jackson who can't stay healthy. Derrick Rose has health issues himself. Yes, completely healthy. This team still is like a 6 seed. They definitely don't have that guy that's going to make them a top 3 seed. It's just not how it is. But I would be all for getting rid of some of the older players and developing some of the guys that are already on the team and just hoping for the best in the draft and hoping for the best in player development. But I don't know. Chances are the Pistons will probably sign like Marcus Morris to a 4-year, $170 million contract, and we'll be right back here in 4 or 5 years talking about this. That's all I got, guys.